Colchester.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the minister responsible please explain the mandate rule for unvaccinated travellers who wish to access federally regulated ferries such as Marine Atlantic?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Quick. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am proud to stand up and answer the question from my colleague, who has been great to collaborate with on the Health Committee. I don't have any data in front of me with respect to the ferries, but I'm happy to look it up for him. But I'd also like to say that right now Nova Scotians are 65.7% triple vaccinated, so there's still room to improve, and I hope my colleagues opposite will continue to consider to encourage their constituents to get a third dose, because that's the best way to protect us and our communities from COVID-19. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Cumberland Colchester.
Well, Mr. Speaker, perhaps I should be on that side as a minister, because the rules are very easy to find, and what it says is that for essential travel under 24 hours on a Marine Atlantic ferry, that unvaccinated people can access ferries.
What?
So why is air travel different from marine travel ferry, Mr. Speaker? I do not know. There are no 24-hour flights inside of Canada, nor indeed around the world. Sadly, this indicates clearly that the ongoing mandates for air travel are only to be vindictive political punishment. When will this Prime Minister allow Canadians to return to pre-pandemic normal?
Why the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As my colleague knows, the travel vaccine mandates have been changing over the last 7 or 8 months. They change regularly. They're constantly reviewed, and they are all subject to looking at the various considerations. But I have to say, Mr. Speaker, in the last month alone, 1,700 Canadians died from COVID-19. It's important to recognize that as much as we want COVID-19 to be over, it's not just there yet.
The Honourable Member for Thornhill.
It's been months. The fiasco at our airports continue. Believe it or not, it's getting worse. More cancelled flights, longer lineups, more delays, lost economic activity, and an international reputation in jeopardy. The minister blames travellers and is telling us that things are just as bad in other countries. And despite all the chaos, experts are saying that dropping the restrictions and mandates must happen to clear the backlogs. The government is keeping these unjustified federal mandates in place till June 30th. If experts are already telling them to drop the virtue signaling, what happens on July 1st?
The Honourable Minister of Transport.
Mr. Speaker, my honourable colleague is right in one thing. We are seeing delays at airports across the entire world. We're seeing increased demand for travel, and we're seeing increased demand, appetite for people who want to travel, and the supply is trying to catch up to it, Mr. Speaker. However, we are not resting, Mr. Speaker, until we fix these delays. We've increased resources at CABSA, at CBSA, at airports. We are working with airports, we're working with airlines, we're working with all stakeholders, and Mr. Speaker, we will do everything we can to ensure that travelers have a smooth experience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Thornhill.
The minister is playing catch-up by hiring a fraction of those they fired because of these mandates. The information disclosed by the government revealed that the government failed to spend nearly a quarter of CABSA's budget last year. Despite record lineups, delays, and staffing shortages at our airports, we know that the Liberal vaccine mandate is keeping millions from flying. Are domestic travel restrictions being kept in place because the government doesn't want to deal with additional travelers, or is it just a way to punish Canadians that don't agree with them?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives going through an identity crisis. They don't know what policies they support and what policies they oppose. The only thing they know is they want to inflame anger and frustration, but have no idea to address the current challenges that we have. Mr. Speaker, our government is a responsible government. We are working with stakeholders, with airports, with airlines, with CABSA, with CBSA, and we are offering real, concrete solutions to address these issues, Mr. Speaker. Our government is on the job, while the Conservatives, all they can do is yell and scream with no ideas, Mr. Speaker.